Americans, this is a reality we will face. A lot of these businesses, they will not come back. They are gone. They are dead. It is sad. It's heartbreaking. Some of them have been around for 100+ years. Some of them 40+ years, like some of the restaurants in New York. They're gone. They're not coming back. It's over. They're the things that you see in the movies because they're not there anymore, and it's unfortunate. But that's the reality we have to prepare for. And so a UBI-based system, even if it's temporarily, I openly recommend that it is. We go in, we put that in place, we cut our costs, we lower our costs, we reallocate resources and actually do so efficiently and not just burning money by giving it to the Syrians to build an army. I still don't understand that logic, but whatever. Powers that be may know more than I do. I don't understand giving weapons and technology to other countries right now when our people are starving to death. Like, that's not okay.
Okay, I don't disagree with the UBI.
yeah.
I think that's right.
Wait.
Oh, so sorry. Yes, fine. Let's go.
Sorry. We have a special guest. A new player just entered the arena. So I just want him to introduce himself, and I think he has a piece to say.
Hello, everybody. My name's Dylan Burns of Dylan Burns TV of the recruitment channel you are on. So today is Sunday, and I don't have many days off. I work 7 days a week, but I was spending my Sunday watching this amazing show because it's part of the best brand on Twitch, which is the Dylan Burns TV brand of Twitch political debate. We have some of the fastest rising stars on the platform. But while I was watching, I saw something, and I gotta say I'm somewhat disappointed for many of you here. And that reason why I'm disappointed is you guys didn't push back upon a claim that's very near and dear to my heart. A foreign policy claim made by Fallen Noor about Syria, about why are we funding to build armies in Syria when that flag behind me, by the way, to anybody thinking, is the flag of the SDF, the Syrian Democratic Forces, the very army we are helping to fund. So you know this cause is very close to my heart, so I'm very disappointed and some of you for not putting some pushback there, but putting pushback in other arenas as a person who has brought foreign policy analysis to Twitch. And so, as the fastest rising star on Twitch, which is Dylan Burns TV, I am here to say, Fallen Noor, that our investment in the SDF was good, it was efficient, it was low cost, and it was one of the most successful American military operations of the modern age. And we need to invest on the global stage during this crisis, if anything, more during this global crisis, since nobody else is going to push back on it. I thought, why not? This is the dark show. This is like a wrestling dark show, you know? It's the recruitment panel. Nobody's watching anyway, so let's have fun. So why should we get out of Syria? Why should we pull all that and, you know, invest it somewhere else, Fall?
Oh, so let me just go ahead and clarify there. And again, Dylan, it's great to see you. I'm not saying that we shouldn't invest overseas right now. I'm saying we should have a focus on what's going on over here. If there is a justification for Syria, that's fantastic. As I said before, you could pull the VOD. I don't know what the justification is. The powers that be that made that decision probably have more information than I do. You definitely do. I absolutely believe that. If it's $1 billion and it can actually successfully build out an entire army, you're absolutely right. That's an amazing expense, because you could spend $1 billion at the Pentagon and that'll fall through the cracks before it hits. You might get the paperwork started for a contract over there. Like, it's disgusting how much money they set on fire over there, and I've worked there, so I know. I can speak firsthand. But it's like I said, it's $1 billion into their army, or however much we spent. I don't know. But there's all this spending in all these bills that are so unaccounted for, or into wasteful spending, in my personal opinion, given current conditions. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't spend in other places. I absolutely agree. Money spent in helping third world countries, second world countries that don't have access to capital to buy vaccines, absolutely critical for them. Because the vaccines, if they do work to the levels that they're currently claiming, like Johnson's & Johnson's, at 67%, which is what they just released. New data says 85%. If we could take those vaccines and deploy them in places like South Africa, maybe we can get ahead of these new strands and variants that are incredibly more dangerous, that will cause long-term harm to our economies, that will keep people from shopping, because those strains have already found their way into the UK. It's very, very likely they found their way over here, and maybe they've talked about it already. I don't know. Maybe they have. I haven't seen anything in regards to the new variants that are over here from the UK/South African strains, but I absolutely do agree. If we can deploy capital there to help to prevent additional spreading or mass outbreaks in major places like third world and second world countries, we should. Because long term, that will make their way to us either way, which is why the U.S. already has several efforts, which was one of the reasons why I was confused why we pulled out of the WHO in the first place, because that's where our money typically goes, is to assist those countries from having major outbreaks that will eventually end up in our home front.
Okay, so why did you bring up Syria as a specific example of something we're kind of like wasting money in?
I'm not saying that we did waste the money. I'm just saying that we put a lot of money towards Syria and other places.
Which
it
is a
was
good
as
thing.
an example.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Syria specifically as an actual, if you want to talk about the
Okay,
anecdotal of it, I'm okay with spending money on Syria if it has a good purpose. Like I said before, I don't know what that purpose is. If it's a valid purpose, we should absolutely do it. If they come out and say we're giving 250 million to the UK, I'm going to ask questions about it. Why are we giving the UK 250 million? Oh, it's because they're deploying the vaccines directly from Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and AstraZeneca to South Africa because they're the local logistics chain. That makes sense. Go ahead and do it because it keeps it from outbreaking further. We can get this thing under control faster. We can get back to normal as long as the vaccines work like they say they do. And that's the one caveat that someone brought up earlier is we're betting everything on the line here. We're betting on black that these vaccines work. And that scares the hell out of me given the current data that goes up and down and all the information. I don't want to necessarily say false or misinformation, but it scares the hell out of me because some of these numbers range from 30 to 70%, and that is a huge fucking range.
What vaccine did you see that was 30%?
Can I please talk about the point that I got interrupted on, Geek? Can I go in on that?
Well,
Is that fine?
Look, while Dylan's in the room, because I don't know if he's going to be staying, right? I don't know if Fallenover was just trying to be so incredibly reasonable that he didn't just want to appear combative. But you know what, Mr. Dylan Burns TV? I respect what you do, right? I absolutely respect what you do. But if you think for 1 minute that the conversation about the SDF and America's involvement in the Middle East is simply over, right? You'd have to be mistaken. Right? Because for me, it doesn't come so much to the topic of money as it seems to be what most people are worried about. For me, it comes down to the idea of philosophy, right? Should we actually be engaging in activities with illegitimate people, meaning that they are not a part of the legitimate government of the internationally recognized government of that nation, right?
What?
So it certainly seems to me that that's where the conversation with regard to Syria could be had because the economics of it, clearly, you covered every single possibly good point that could be made, and there's no arguments there. But philosophically, there would be a much different conversation.
You know what? Give me a moment here. Because you know what? CTV? I am a God-fearing American. And you know what that means, CTV? That means a few things. That means a few things. The first thing that means is I believe in 1776. I believe in it fundamentally. I believe that dictatorships and authoritarianism is un-American and illegitimate as a form of governance. That every dictatorship is illegitimate as a concept. Because anyone that has to browbeat you into submission,
You say that.
illegitimate government. And let me finish. I gave you your time, CTV. I gave you your time. Let this son of God get a few moments, okay? Let this child of the Almighty get a few seconds. And you know what? Illegitimate government. I'll tell you a few things. Was it illegitimate for the French to support us in our rebellion against the British? Was it illegitimate for us to support Korea during its defense against a communist invasion from the north? Was it illegitimate for us to even rebel against the British? Was it illegitimate for the people of Haiti to rebel against its government because it didn't want to be in bondage? Was that illegitimate? Should we have been quiet then? No. And the government of Bashar al-Assad has not treated his people very kindly. He has gassed them, he has shot them, he has beaten protesters, he has tortured them. He has done a lot of things that I would say is illegitimate of anyone who lives under God's ways or under international law. And so, if he was unable to beat ISIS because of his incompetence and brutality, and it took the Kurds and Yazidis and Arabs of northeastern Syria to pick up guns with American support and lose 12,000 martyrs in its fight against ISIS, I think it gets a little bit of decision-making power about their future when they had to let 12,000 sons and daughters fight against slavers and butchers. And I think America's saying, I think that struggle was legitimate. Your losses were not illegitimate. Those 12,000 didn't die in vain. I think personally, that is an American and freedom-loving concept.
You know, I would have to. Hold on.
You're speaking a lot of truth. I gotta give you credit.
Hold on now. So,
Hold
Mr.
on
Dylan
now.
Burns, I recognized all of what you just said, and what I'm going to point to is the conversation that we had previously, right? And the difference between the people of Syria, especially in the northeast part of it, that are a part of the SDF, the difference between those people and us as Americans is that we declared our independence. And that is the difference, is that the SDF wants to operate inside the government of Syria, right? And by supporting the SDF, we're actually actively supporting the very thing that we would not want, which is somebody subverting our government, right? It's one thing to declare yourself independent of that government, but is a completely idea wholeheartedly to try to still be inside of the government that you were previously and try to coerce it in a manipulative way, such as providing arms to those people.
When we had the Articles of Confederation in this country, there was a farmers' rebellion, and that farmers' rebellion led to reform. It led to reform because we saw the Articles of Confederation was too weak of documents to hold this country together. And when the SDF comes out and says to Bashar al-Assad and the world, we don't even want independence, we want to be treated like human beings. That is something to be respected, because they're not even throwing off the shackles of Assad completely. They're not even throwing off the idea that they are at all part of Syria. They are throwing off the concept of being treated like animals. That is what they're throwing off. Much like the farmers who rebelled were not throwing off the concept of being American, but were throwing off the concept of starvation. The idea that they were supposed to live in destitution in this country. So that also, rebelling for concepts, but not for independence, is also an American and freedom-loving concept.
Where y'all been hiding this guy? Yeah, he's great.
Hey, Dylan, you've been hanging out a lot with Bastion, I see recently, right?
You got to make different types of argumentation to convince different types of people. You got to understand.
True.
Dylan, I'll give you credit. The reason I avoided that was because I was like, man, it's gonna be hard to get the America First crowd on board with, like, foreign aid. So I was like, I'm not even gonna bother addressing that point. But the way you framed it,
don't get me wrong,
I was
dude.
like, good
Oh, I can
yeah.
do that.
Good
Dylan,
job.
no
Okay.
problem.
Get out of Assad.
You
Absolutely.
If you keep it up like this, you could probably get Nick Fuentes on the Hippy Dippy.
Holy shit.
Take control, Gate. Come on.
Okay.
My
I think
eyes.
it's time we go back to the
Okay.
right topic.
Yes, thank you.
I'm gonna head out. I love you all. Thank you for coming on to my recruitment show. I give you all the best shot in getting onto the main show. Last week we did our best show ever when it came to viewership. We hit 3,000 viewers at one point, which I think
I know
is
you
pretty
did really good, man.
for a panel show. And I hope to have some of you on. I do want to give a special shout out to Phil. I've really liked what I've saw from him so far. And you all have a blessed day. Okay.
See you, buddy.
See ya,
Oh.
man.
All right.
Can I respond?
Wait. Hold up. This debate got so derailed out of nowhere thanks to Dylan, twitch.tv/DylanBuzzTV. So, yeah, let's go back real quick on the right topic because, like...
Much love to Dylan. Much love.
Yeah, so will the Biden stimulus crash the economy, basically? I think we're going to do like 5 more minutes on this, and after that, we're going to have to do really short closing statement and jump to the next topic.
I just
All
want
right.
to go to close then. Or...
Yeah.